Okay, so today we're going to be doing lecture 17, finding slope from a graph. So last time we learned how to figure out slope by using the slope formula. So the slope formula is going to be m equals y2 minus y1. So we're subtracting the y's on top. And then on the bottom, we have the x values, x2 minus x1. And this is only if you have 2 points where you have the x and the y values. This is the first ordered pair. And you have the second ordered pair, y2 and x2. So once I know what the numbers are, I can put them into the formula and figure out what the slope is. But today, we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. We're going to be looking at a graph and trying to figure out what the slope is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a new formula, m equals rise over run. So the rise means how far up you go. That's going to be the change in y, because the y-axis is going to tell you how far up or down you go. And the run is going to be the change in x. So how far you go on the x-axis is going to determine how far to the right or to the left you go. So that is the formula that we're going to be using today. Okay, so now I'm going to do a new share. I want to see if this works. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be looking at number 1 on the problem set. And this is going to require me to show you how this works on paper. So I'm going to zoom in on number 1, and we're going to take a look at that one first. Okay, so on number 1, I have 2 points, and what I want to do is I want to go from left to right. So what that means is I'm going to start at this point right here on the left side, and I want to go all the way to this point right here on the right side. So I'm always going from left to right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that rise over run formula, which is m equals change in y on top and change in x on the bottom. And I want to see how far up do I have to go to get from one point to the next, and how far to the right do I have to go to get from one point to the next. So I get m equals, I look at this graph, and I notice that I need to go up 1 to get from this point to that point. So my change in y is going to be a positive 1 since I'm going up. And then the run is going to be how far to the right I have to go. So to get from this point to this point, I need to go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So my run is going to be 4. So when I divide these two numbers, 1 divided by 4 is just going to be a fraction. So you can write this as 1/4, or you can write it as 0.25 as a decimal. And while not all fractions can be written as decimals so easily, this one can. Okay, let's look at number 2. For number 2, I'm going to start on the left side at this point, and I always want to go from left to right. So I'm going to be stopping at this point. So I want to know how far up or how far down I need to go to get to 1 point from the next. So I need to go down 1, 2, 3. So my rise is going to be -3 because I have to go down 3. It wouldn't be a +3 because that would mean I would have to go up. So now that's my -3 on top. And then the run, that's how far to the right I have to go. And I have to go 1, 2, 3 to the right. So I'm going to have a +3 in the denominator. So then -3 divided by 3 is going to be a -1. And that'll be my slope for this one. So notice it has a negative slope. It has a negative slope. So what that means is your line is going to go down as you go from left to right. Whereas if you had a positive slope for number 1, your line would be going up as you go from left to right. Okay, let's look at number 5. Number 5 is a completely horizontal line. So I know the slope is going to be 0. But let's do rise over run just to confirm that. We're going from left to right as usual. So I'm going to be starting at the point on the left side, and I need to go to the point on the right side. So the question is, how far up do I need to go? And how far to the right do I need to go? Well, for the rise, I'm not going up at all. So that's going to be a 0 because I'm just staying at the same y value, -3. So do I need to go up or do I need to go down? I don't have to do either one of those. So that's why my rise is going to be 0. But how far to the right do I have to go? What would my run in the denominator be? It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll have a 6 in the denominator. And 0 divided by 6 is 0. So this is going to be my 0 slope. And whenever you have 0 for the slope, you're going to have a completely horizontal line. Okay, so the last type of slope is going to be something like number 8. So let's look at number 8 next. For this one, I have a completely vertical line, which means my slope is going to be undefined. That would mean that I'm actually dividing by 0 somewhere that I shouldn't. But as usual, we're going to go from left to right. We're going to start at, well, it really doesn't matter here. Let's start at the bottom. And then we'll go directly to the top. But we could have easily chosen the other way. It doesn't really matter. So I want to start at the bottom point, and I want to go all the way to this top point. So the question is, how far up do I need to go? That's going to be my rise. And then how far to the left or to the right do I need to go? That's going to be my run. So how far up do I need to go to get to the top point? That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need to go up by 7. How far to the right do I need to go to get to the top point? I don't need to go to the right at all because these points have the same x value. So my run is going to be 0. So notice how I'm dividing by 0 here. You can never divide by 0 in math. You won't get a real number if you do that. So that's why this is going to be undefined. And that's always going to give you a vertical line when you have an undefined slope. Okay. So the last one we're going to do together is number 10. The last one. And this time, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. We usually use rise over run when we have a graph, but I want to find the slope using the slope formula. Y2 minus y1 at the top divided by x2 minus x1 at the bottom. So either way you want to use it, you can use the top formula, the rise over run, or you can use the bottom formula, which is the slope formula. Both of these will work and give you the same answer. So I want to show you how the bottom equation will give you the same answer as the top. So the rise over run is going to be how far up I need to go. I need to go 2 up. And how far to the right do I need to go? 4. So that's going to give me 2 over 4, which is 1/2. That's going to be my slope. Now what I want to do is I want to use the slope formula to see if I get the same answer as I did down here. But to use the slope formula, I need to know what my 2 points are. So let's look at the graph and see if we can figure out what this point is and what this point is. So this point is going to be 0, -2. 0, -2. Because you start on the y-axis at x equals 0 and you go down 2. But over here, for this point, this is going to be 4, 0. And I know that because I need to go to the right 4 times. And the y value is 0. That tells me that I'm staying on the x-axis. So I'm going to use these 2 points. I'm going to plug them into the formula that I'm using. And I'm going to see if I get 1/2 for my answer. So I'm going to use y2 minus y1 at the top. Those are going to be my y values. So I'm going to have 0 right here minus -2. 0 minus -2. That's going to give me a double negative. But in the denominator, I need to subtract the x values. That's going to be this 4 up here minus the 0 down here. So 4 minus 0. On top, I have 0 minus -2. That's the same thing as 0 plus 2. So I'm going to get 2 on top. 4 minus 0 on the bottom is going to give me 4. And then 2 over 4 is 1/2. So it doesn't matter which formula you use, whether you use the rise over run or the slope formula, but if you do it right, you should get the same answer regardless. And that is how to find slope from a graph. Okay, so the 2 assignments that you need to turn in by Sunday are going to be well, actually, let me go back to my screen. Okay. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back. So the 2 assignments that you need to turn in are going to be the slope from 2 points. Slope from 2 points. We did that the first day on Monday. And that's where you use the slope formula. That y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The second assignment is going to be the 10 questions on the classwork, slope from a graph. And you can do that today, Wednesday. You'll be using the rise over run formula, or you could use the slope formula, whichever one you choose. Okay? So if you have any questions about today's lecture or any questions about the classwork, go ahead and put them down in the chat box, and I will see you next week. Class dismissed.